The 49ers are left picking up the pieces following the latest devastating injury. Perhaps reinforcements are on the way, but how do the 49ers move forward from here in 2025? Steph Sanchez and I will talk about that and more right after this. I'm Jason Aponte. That's Steph Sanchez. This is the Bully Ball Podcast on the Gold Standard Podcast Network, the only 49ers podcast that, you know what? I don't even have a good one, Steph. How you doing?
Oh man, I was rooting for you. I was
I
like,
know.
how does he always come up with good ones on the spot? And he just
No.
not today.
No. No,
Not
the stages of grief, following Sunday's game, the loss felt inconsequential to, what we saw, and obviously the loss of Fred Warner is devastating. But putting on the tape and watching the defensive tape today just made me more sad, and it just made me sad all over again. And I thought I had gotten over it. It's like you're just finishing a breakup and you're looking at that picture of you and your ex for some reason, and it just made you sad all over again. And all of a sudden, Frank Ocean's playing in the background, and it just now you're just really sad. So anyway, Steph, before we get into anything like that, how's your fantasy season going?
My fantasy season is going great, Jay.
Look at
I
that
don't know
smile on your
about
face.
you, but I'm firmly in second place in
Mm-hmm.
our dynasty league. It's going
Mhm.
great for me. I got guys banged up, and
Mhm.
I'm still winning out here. So I'm like the Bucks, but yeah, it's going great for me.
Must
What
be
about you?
nice. Must be nice. I am fully holding on to all of my draft picks, considering selling and getting ready for next season at 3-3. This team just doesn't have it. I feel like I've lost the locker room, but I am going to retool and rebuild moving forward. Obviously, this dynasty league that we're in is on sleeper, and the NFL season is here, which means you now have a chance to win 1,000 times your cash on daily fantasy football. Pick stats like touchdowns, passing yards, receiving yards, fantasy points, and more. Up to 1,000 times payout on Sleeper. Get your picks right and you could win big. And for a limited time only, new users will get a free $20 entry. And don't forget, if you use our promo code GSP, you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today. Love Sleeper. Steph, before we get into all the 49ers stuff, Sunday was a tough day, but a nice little message came across on one of the social media platforms. I think I downloaded TikTok for the first time in a while because I was trying to download a TikTok video. And someone said that they love our show and they believe that Bully Ball is the best show on the Gold Standard Podcast Network. And that made me feel a lot better, even though the 49ers had just lost. So shout out to her and thank you for the message. That really means a lot. I wanted to make sure I conveyed that on here with you, Steph. Not trying to say that we are the best, but it is nice when someone does say some nice words, because for the most part, people don't say nice words to us on social media.
Speak for yourself, Jay. People love me.
Oh, yeah? You started the Marcus Siegel stuff, pal.
It's still going strong, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, it is. And you know what? And you know what's funny is people blame me for jinxing something, right? And they say, "Well, you jinxed it." If you think that I had that sort of power to jinx things one way or the other, why in the hell wouldn't have I already jinxed the 49ers a Super Bowl? Do you believe in Santa Claus still and the Easter Bunny? Like, what are we doing here? But anyway, look, the Fred Warner thing, we have to just face it head on, right? Like there's no way to go around it. It is Tuesday. The team has to move on. They have to get ready. And here's a beautiful picture of Fred Warner. And I'll say a few things. One, obviously the play is unfortunate because 10 men were on the field. If there was an 11th man on the field, that doesn't likely get to the second, like if that was just a play where it was just 10 men on the field and there was a big gain, we could probably write it off. But the result of it being Fred Warner's ankle breaking, I am a big proponent and supporter of Kyle Shanahan, but somebody had to see that. And I'm looking square at you guys. Someone had to see that. And if it was just a regular gain, we could let it go, but it resulted in losing Fred Warner. That is a huge mistake. Okay, I want to make sure I make that clear. It's a huge mistake. That's on Kyle Shanahan. That's on Robert Saleh. That's the guys on the field. All of them. Whoever was supposed, Travis Gibson is the guy that they're throwing this at. All of you guys. And now look what happened. But Fred Warner goes down. He gets on the cart, and it was a somber moment. But he looks like a guy that's just like, hey, I'm gonna be back. And and that's another thing. It's infectious. And one more thing I want to say. No matter what the result of the game was on Sunday, the 49ers still played their asses off. And they still went hard in that entire game. They did not quit. I will give them that. I will definitely give them that. The spirit was willing. The flesh might have been weak based on the fact of who's there, right? Like, you can't replace that. But you know what? I was actually very encouraged to watch the tape back. Those guys kept fighting. And you know what? With all of the things that they've been thrown at them, they keep fighting. And I at least will take that bit of positivity that they didn't give up, right, Steph?
Yeah, I think this team is better equipped, I would say, to handle just some of the adversity that they're facing this season, more so than I think I could say last year's team was. And maybe some of last year's kind of built that up into this year. And, also you have so many younger guys who are just so motivated to grind, and they're hungry, to prove themselves. So I think that's a positive thing as well. We've already talked about the character of this team being as great as it has been this season. And that's something that, hopefully will carry them the rest of the way. Like you said, Jay, like, I think I agree that this team kept fighting. That's so difficult to do. I had a hard time even continuing to watch. I think a lot of
Right.
us did. And these guys have to continue playing a game after losing their leader. And so doing it in such a way where, they still hang their head high and able to finish the game and kept it close for as long as they did, I think is a testament to, the character of this team being better than it's been in the past. So I think they could weather this storm, but it's just going to look different.
Yeah.
It's gonna look different. To talk about the 10 men on the field, that just adds insult to injury, right? And
Literally.
inexcusable, like, just something that shouldn't happen. And sometimes things like that do happen, but they don't result in something, I guess that difficult as losing Fred Warner. But I guess it's just really unfortunate that it all had to happen this way. And, just when it was starting to feel like, maybe this team will be okay, like without Nick Bosa, right? Now you lose Fred Warner. That feels like an even bigger loss for this team. So, yeah, I mean, that's just someone you can't fill in his role. But
Yeah.
there are some ways that you could alleviate it, adjustments that I'm sure, we'll talk about here next, but it's tough. Like, there's no other way around it.
Yeah, and if you're looking for vocal leaders, because Fred Warner is always the one with the speeches, I'm looking at three guys moving forward, and two of them are returning. I'm looking at three guys. One is already on the defense. Diamador Lenore, it's your time. You got to be very vocal. George Kittle, we all say all the time that you're the heartbeat of this team. It's your time. Now, let's go. Brock Purdy, whenever it is that you return, whether it's this week, whenever it's next, let's go. Everybody step up. Everyone has to take the brunt of this. Everyone has to take a piece of this, right? So I guess the question is, what happens with the linebacker group? Well, you saw Tatum Bethune come in the game, and he was a Mike. I will say this. I really liked how hard he plays. He flies around. He's a thumper. He does need to be more disciplined. And I think that was a little bit of being tossed into the fire when you didn't think that that was ever going to happen, right? I do think that he has what it takes to be a very solid Mike. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's Nick Martin time. Steph, it's not. And here's why. It's not. Winters is not the backup for Warner. Bethune is Warner's backup. Gifford is your other third linebacker on base, and he was in there a lot in this game. And he's a core special teamer, so he can't come off the field. If Nick Martin cannot contribute on special teams, he will not be taking significant snaps away from Luke Gifford, Winters, or Bethune. And it's not because he's a bad player, Steph.
Yeah, I even when Fred Warner was healthy, I was seeing so many people week in and week out saying, "Where's Nick Martin? Like, why haven't we seen him? Why isn't he active?" All these things, and I mean, there's probably a reason, right? And I think the special teams reason is a good one, Jay. I agree. I think he'll be active like going forward. Just they need
Numbers
more
game.
guys to yeah, it's the numbers game. But he's not going to be playing significant snaps, or at least we wouldn't expect it. If he does, it means someone else got hurt, which probably not a good thing. But
Please don't even say that. The
yeah, I
injury
know.
goblin, the
Let me
injury goblin. Look,
knock
the
on wood.
injury goblin is taking, and again, I'll give you back George Kittle, but I need to take Fred Warner from you, the
I
injury
know
goblin,
what
right?
is
Like,
going
just
on. That is like that one joke of people saying that Christian McCaffrey's like harvesting everyone's
I've
health.
seen that.
It's like, geez, man. Who would have thought, McCaffrey would be the guy
The
still
healthiest.
standing?
Hey,
Yeah, I know.
since
Let's knock to
since
that too. Let's knock to that.
since we believe in jinxes and curses and whatever it is, right?
Etsy
Like,
witches. Oh man,
yeah,
I mean,
Etsy.
all
Listen,
kinds of
look.
things.
I want to jump out and I want to take full responsibility. And it's time for me to take accountability, 49ers fans, to the woman that I have pissed off that bought the Etsy witch to make the San Francisco 49ers go through all this injury stuff. Please stop, and I apologize, and I need to make it up to you. I want to take accountability to all the 49ers fans. I want you to be able to say, you know what, Jason Aponte, this is your fault, and whoever it is, whichever woman, I am sorry, and I want to make it up to you. Let's do dinner. I can buy you flowers, anything you want. Please, let's just stop.
It's too late, Jay. Damage
It's
is
not too
done.
late. The
Damage is
damage is
done.
done.
Okay, damage is done. Damn it. Let's,
So,
Rob, can you put this comment up on the screen that you had started? Nick Martin is a wasted pick if you're not even going to activate him. All right, this is funny because Rob said something similar before we went live. Not on him being active. I think we agree. He's going to be active on game days going forward. He's not going to be playing. If he's not going to be playing any significant snaps, that does not mean he is a wasted pick. Like, that is a ridiculous thing to say in his rookie season. We are seeing guys, second-year players, contributing, being first-year starters in their second, third season with this team. Would you call D Winters a wasted pick? No, I don't think you would. So why are we calling Nick Martin a wasted pick? He is going to play at some point, guys. Like, we don't need to rush guys like into any snaps. I mean, he'll get his time. It's just not right now. That's not an indictment on him. I just think there's other guys ahead of him on the roster. Again, what Jay said about him not playing special teams, there's politics to that, roster politics, right? He just doesn't have the same value that the other guys have ahead of him right now. So, not a wasted pick, guys. Let's cool it and let's be patient with Nick Martin and his eventual playing time.
yeah, and Luke Gifford was brought here to be a core special teamer. He wasn't brought here to be a base down linebacker. That just happens to be what happens. And also, I want to point something else out. Kyle Shanahan was very, very open about the fact that Malik Mustafa's back, but we don't know who's the next guy next to him. So that means there's a chance that Jair Brown is still big nickel. So we're just talking about the way that they're putting this defense out there, everybody's role, the roster construction on game day. This doesn't mean that Nick Martin's bad. This does not mean that at all. How can we say that a player's bad when we haven't seen him? Now, you cannot remove a core special teamer when your special teamers are already shit. Rob, bleep it out. You're going to take away one of the guys that's actually really good, other than Sky Moore, making sure that he fields all the punts from the 5-yard line. Like, it's okay to wonder where he is. And I understand why people are asking, because every other single rookie's playing. Every other rookie's playing. It just happens to be the order that it's in. I wouldn't read too much into this other than this is what Luke Gifford was brought here for. They feel confident in him, and they want his veteran. They need stability right now, right? Like, they need to stabilize this defense in every single way that they can. And if that means a veteran guy who doesn't offer you more upside, but just is going to be steady instead of the ups and downs that could be with Nick Martin while taking away from special teams, then that's what it's going to be right now. Now, we can see if there's a calculated risk later on,
Yeah.
And that may change. This is very much a week to week league, as you can see. So I think right now it's hands off right now. Like let's just see. I don't think Nick Martin's a bad football player. I just don't. What's the role? And Niner Faithful
Mhm.
is Connor Colby a wasted pick because he's playing. Just kidding. Well, I mean, you know what? That's a good way to segue to what else is going on. So we could talk more about the defense, and we'll get to it. I think the
Yeah.
safety role, the safety thing, we should definitely spin the block on because Malik Mustafa was in and out, right? They're trying to ease him back in. I thought Jair Brown had a very good game. They didn't target him once. He didn't miss any tackles. He was very solid. I think we still see some of the issues with Siegel, but he's very good in run defense. So again, you can't take him off the field because you're already invested in him, in his confidence. So, but offensive line, I'm I'm scared to death right now about Dominic Pooney, and here's why I want. Well, not that I'm trying to encourage this, but no injury designation. And then Kyle Shanahan gets to the podium and he's like, he's working through injuries. Who's lying here? Is that even allowed? Is that even allowed? How can you, in one breath, put on the injury report that he has no injury designations but full practice the entire time and say he's working through something? Is that allowed? Like that's the thing. It's tough to really rag on the guy, but the reason that I'm so worried about Pooney is because he's not a 1 year guy. Pooney is a foundational member of this offensive line in the draft that they are looking to be that guy. And his play has suffered. And there's no two ways about it. Sure, there's probably an injury. You hear Kyle Shanahan say that. But my goodness, man. Vita Vea was taking all three of the interior offensive linemen to school. And he's very good. But I'm more worried about Dominic Pooney than anybody because Jake Brendel's going to be off this team next season and there'll be a new starter, at center. Left guard, Connor Colby, okay, you're a rookie, you're a seventh round rookie. We're trying to just get the most out of you. They're waiting for Ben Barch to come back. But Pooney has to be the man. Pooney can't fall off right now. And Cold Essence says DW improved playing faster. Salah will upgrade him. DW. Uh
D Winters.
D Winters. Okay. We'll talk about the linebackers in a little bit too, or whatever. I have some concerns about Winters, but I think he's gonna be fine. But I am a little worried about the fact that they keep saying that he's not fully healthy, but on the injury report they keep saying he's full participant, no injury designation. He's just not playing well right now, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I did, just to add the context, want to talk about the exact quote from Kyle Shanahan. He said, "quote I think it was a big injury coming into this season, which was a huge setback for him and has made things more difficult. I'm sure that hasn't made things easier for him." End quote. It's not like really saying like he's still hurt, but I mean, definitely implying he's now 100% and hasn't been probably since that injury that he had. I believe it was a knee injury, right? Before he missed some time in camp and the preseason. So yeah, that's definitely something that's hindering his performance right now. I think we could have probably put two and two together, or maybe they're just hoping that's what it is, right? And maybe he has taken a step back in his sophomore season. I don't know. But I agree. Like it's been pretty bad for the interior of the offensive line, and I think they really banked on Pooney being, one of the better offensive linemen. He was the second best last season, and I think they were hoping for that to continue and for him to build off of last season. And so far, it's been the opposite of that. And Maria asks, "Is it time to try Drew Moss?" I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen Drew Moss in practice. Like he was putting some good things together in training camp, but as we see, like, with Connor Colby getting game action, once you're in there and in the heat of it, like it doesn't always look so polished. So I don't know what it would look like for Drew Moss. But again, kind of like similar to what we were saying with Nick Martin and guys who are like a little lower on the depth chart. But if things continue to look bad and the record is like at a point where you need to start mixing things up and changing things. And maybe we see that down the line. I don't think the 49ers would look to do that anytime soon. But in the meantime, like, I mean, Pooney's just going to have to continue playing through whatever he's dealing with, just like everyone else. 49ers have a week 14 bye week. I mean, there's a long way to go for that. They've already had a
like 2
mini
years
bye.
away.
It does, right? Like, so yeah, unfortunately, he'll have to keep playing through it. It's just going to be tough, I think, for this offensive line to get anything going. It's part of the reason that the run blocking hasn't been good, in addition to, you know, other things as well, not just the offensive line, but it seems like as a whole, like, run blocking has been inconsistent from everyone throughout, because it's not just the offensive line. You have wide receivers and tight ends who need to be on their P's and Q's with that as well. You're missing Kittle out there. And you're also missing guys like Debo and Brandon Ayuk, who were really great, you know, run blockers as well.
And Juwan Jennings.
And Juwan Jennings. Well, I mean, he's back, but
was he?
It's a good segue right there.
Yeah. Let's stay on the offensive line real quick. What if I told you one tackle has 19 pressures allowed and 4 sacks, and the other tackle has 12 pressures allowed and 3 sacks on the season? You would say the one with more pressures, his name is?
I think it's Trent, isn't it?
Of course it is.
Yeah.
And Colton McKivitz is just over here just being steady, right? And yet, he's become the new whipping boy, you know, where we want... Well, what I mean is, we want to find one clip where he trips over somebody's leg and say, oh, he's gotten blown up. But then the 68 other snaps, he's really good. But, you know, hey, don't let me get in the way of your offensive line narratives because you want clicks and you want, views and stuff like that. But, yeah, offensive line interior, going to continue to get their ass kicked, it looks like, for the foreseeable future, because here come the Atlanta Falcons, who they blitzed Josh Allen 56% of the time last night. And everyone talked crazy about them. Why would you take Walker and Pierce? That's why. Because now you've got a ferocious pass rush that you can dial up, and Jeff Ulbrich has got revenge on his mind. Blitz, 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 blitz. I hope you guys are ready for Sunday Night Football, because that is going to be a very interesting way to do it. Let's do the wide receivers. Kendrick Bourne giveth and Kendrick Bourne taketh. So, I don't know what it is about Kendrick Bourne that you'll never know what you're going to get one play to the next. Yeah, he had 140-something yards. Hell yeah. Thank you, dude. Appreciate it. But he also could just never know where to line up or run the wrong route that results in an interception. Like, the variations and the variance of what he could do from play to play. It could either be a 56-yard catch, or you can run the wrong route and it'll literally turn into an interception. But can we really knock somebody who's got back-to-back 140-yard weeks? Kyle Shanahan, take a bow, man. You're making everyone look at, like, why did we keep Kendrick Bourne on the street? Kyle Shanahan is doing his best here, but the Juwan Jennings thing is obviously the thing that we should be talking about right now. Look, man, I don't know what's going on. There's no video of the exchange. It didn't seem like Juwan Jennings was very happy to talk about it and said, ask him about Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah. And
then proceeds to tell us that he's got 5 broken ribs and high and low ankle sprains. Okay. So here's the problem. You have incentives you want to hit. You want to catch the football. You got money to make. You got money to make next year too. If I'm basing this off vibes, seemed like he wasn't mad about, hey, I'm not helping the team win. It's like, hey, I need to get my money, man. And you guys are stopping me from getting my money. That's the way I took it. Steph, if I'm tripping, let me know.
I mean, that seems like the most plausible thing. And, the fact that he was active for this game, even with the injuries that he's playing through, kind of his way of saying, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to contribute. And, to that point, like he really had contributed nothing to the game as far as like him getting targeted. And so Yeah, I think it's fair to speculate that that very well could have been the reason. And I feel for him because he is, betting on himself
He
this season.
overplayed his
He did. I mean, he
hand.
did. I know. I know. Um Now you kind it just sucks cuz he's hurt and he kind of just has to deal with what he's getting at this point. And meanwhile, you have Kendrick Bourne who like
And
you had
that
replaced.
that is
um
killing him. That is killing him
yeah.
right now because
Yeah,
look what Kyle Shanahan is doing and getting out of Kendrick Bourne. That is killing his value right now.
it
Also,
really is.
don't let that fly by.
Oh, and that is a testament to Kyle Shanahan and just like I guess why they shouldn't have paid Juwan Jennings an extension to begin with. So I think the 49ers probably feel happy about that decision right now and happy with how it's playing out as far as Bourne and Jennings. Uh, but yeah, I mean, in any case, I do still think the 49ers need contributions from Jennings as well. He
They
just
do.
didn't look 100%
They
in
do.
that game. And also, he didn't look 100% mentally into the game. Like, the two penalties that he had, cost the 49ers on that one drive. And I mean, you just can't do that,
Yeah.
especially given you're arguing on the sideline and then you do that, like it's just
Wait.
not a good look.
And let's set the scene. And everyone knows the pathway to more targets is mistakes. We all know that. That's a big thing for Kyle Shanahan. It's not only that you're arguing with the coach, you're yelling at the coach when he's trying to dial up a 2-minute drive trying to get points before the half. And he has to turn and talk to you.
That's crazy.
What's going on, dude? Talk about that in the locker room. Don't distract the coach while he's play calling. I digress. Juwan Jennings is needed. He's needed for run blocking. He's needed for those clutch third down moments. And when this offense, whenever this is, and I don't know why I keep saying this, whenever it gets healthy, he has to be that guy on third down. But I want to ask you something, and I want to put on a tinfoil hat. Now, I don't want to talk about what everybody was talking about Brandon Ayuk because it wasn't true. Let's just say that. Okay, that's not true. Do you believe that he's frustrated with the 49ers not giving a specific time for him to come out there? And do you believe that the 49ers are allowing him to sit out the season so they can keep this mystery of is he going to bounce back? And they really don't want to have him out there because it could tank any potential trade value. Again, just throwing it out there, not saying I believe it, but it is a narrative that is out there, and I think we should address it.
Sure. And I mean, again, like it would definitely be speculating to say that, Brandon Ayuk is upset about them not putting a date on it yet. But I don't think they're wrong to not put a date on it just because look at the Jacob Cowing thing. They told us week 6 and he has not come
Is he
back
even on the
yet.
team
Is
anymore?
he alive? Like,
Is he on the team
okay?
anymore?
Is he okay?
Like, is he on the team
Right. No,
anymore?
legitimately, is he okay? But you see how that you put a date on it doesn't happen, and we assume something's wrong, like something is amiss, right? And so I think it's okay for them to be a little more cautious with the Brandon Ayuk thing, especially because there's already so much speculation. Let's not, add more to it by putting a date on it and potentially being wrong, So I think they just want to be sure before giving a date. And Kyle, even recently this week when he spoke with the media, said like still looking at week 10.
He's like maybe week 10.
Yeah. I don't know if Brandon Ayuk would be upset about that. I do know that, and even from the 49ers standpoint, it would make sense for Brandon Ayuk to play at some point this season. I mean, any player wants to be back out there just to play, once they're healthy. And I think even from the 49ers standpoint, if they wanted to trade Brandon Ayuk, which I don't even hit that contract is no one's trading for that. Like
someone is. Yeah, you'd be someone is. Someone
okay.
could.
Well,
but,
if someone would,
yeah.
no, if someone would, I got to see what I'm trading for first. So
Very fair.
I
And
Brandon Ayuk
you're
needs to play. Like if the 49ers plan is to trade Brandon Ayuk next offseason, again, we're all speculating here, but if
mhm.
that's the case, you want him to play as well. So
You're a smart GM, that's why. But what if I presented the risk of running him out there and showing that he's not at full strength is too great? And you can sell the idea of, hey, he just needed a little bit more time, and now you can fully have him because now he's all the way back. It's dicey.
yeah,
It's dicey
either
because
way.
if you put him out there and he looks like he's lost a step, whatever pick you thought you were going to get, you lose another round on or 2 rounds. Now, if you have this air of mystery about Brandon Ayuk and you spin it as he just needed more time, and then say he's all the way back, then people are like, yeah, we'll have our medical staff check him out, but they haven't seen the decline in play. So it's twofold there. But again, this is all tinfoil hat stuff.
Yeah.
I want Brandon Ayuk to stay here. I think Brandon Ayuk is an incredible separator. I think that Brandon Ayuk has been unfairly treated by many people. And I think everybody's looking for any moment to pile on him. There is something strange about this entire situation, though. I just can't put my finger on it. I feel like that Dexter meme. I just can't figure it out yet. Like I like it's the guy in the car. I just can't figure it out yet. But either way, maybe good news this week. Maybe Ricky Pearsall. Maybe Juwan Jennings is a little bit better. Kendrick Bourne looks very good, and he looks very solid in his role. Demarcus Robinson has a drop, but they go right back to him, and it's a nice little catch. Jake Tonjes has been good. Maybe George Kittle. So we're back to where we were in the offseason, Steph. The offense is going to need to carry the defense. It's funny. It goes all the way around. The offense is going to have to lift. The offense, and what a perfect week to do it against the number one passing defense in the NFL. Just put Josh Allen and the Bills in a blender. But the offense is going to have to do the heavy lifting. The 49ers defense is going to have to do just enough to keep the offense in it. And the offense is going to have to lift. Now, this is the first game since week 15 of last season where the number one passing defense is going to face the number one passing offense. And that was Tennessee's defense last year against Cincinnati. So we're right back to where we were. A lot of rookies are going to play. We need to go through the bumps and bruises, but we still believe in Kyle Shanahan and we're going to make the most of this offense. But you can't do that until the guys get back. And, you've been doing your best. I still believe that Kyle Shanahan is doing a great job, all things considered. What other team could be down their starting quarterback, the best tight end in football, their two best wide receivers? What other team could the top 3 edge rusher, the top 1 linebacker? What other team could be this at this record with this team? Like this is still, again, we're talking positivity here, and obviously we have to do some reality, which is somewhere in the middle. I still think that Kyle Shanahan can still get this done. The fact that he's been able to do this, dropping back 40 times because they can't run the football. Yeah, one, you can yell at the running game, and obviously, man, we'd love to get that going, but it's one thing or the other. Offensive line or a tackle, a tight end's missing a block, or a wide receiver's missing a block, or sometimes Christian McCaffrey's choosing the wrong hole. Pause. But we have to just make sure that we keep it down the middle, that this offense is going to have to be the way the 49ers go. Like the way to lift the defense up. Yeah, Robert Saleh, you're going to have to do a lot, but Kyle Shanahan has got to be the offense, man.
I'm that Bernie Sanders meme. I am once again asking this offense to score some damn points. And to this point, they've been okay, like given all the injuries, they've been putting up enough points to win games, right? And just not this past week. As of right now, they're averaging 20.8 points per game, which would be 24th. Not great. Atlanta's 27th. Averaging 20. But like we just said, I think we're expecting this Atlanta offense to have an easier time against this 49ers defense. I will say, the Bills defense is not so great either. But
no, they aren't.
Just because of the fact that the 49ers are still very much in this adjustment phase of, moving on from life without Fred Warner, and they were just starting to adjust without having Nick Bosa, right? And I say adjust like very lightly because I mean, they still had no pass rush. Like they weren't able to fix that. It was just that they were finding other ways, I guess, to make things work. But now it's going to be even more difficult, right? So I think, yeah, the ask is that this offense, especially with the reinforcements coming back, you have to expect that they're going to have to carry this team going forward. And yes, like it was a couple of weeks ago that we said that once, and we said it at the start of the season too, and then the defense just kept surprising us, but like no more. Like I'm just not at a point where, even with Robert Saleh, like I will say this. I do think the defense, the 2025 defense, is in way better hands. I feel way more better about it than I did last year, right?
I mean, there was a janitor calling plays last year.
even with the injuries, I feel way better about this defense, and that says a lot, I think. But even still, you just need more from your offense, but I'm scared at the same time because we keep talking about this run game being non-existent. Will that improve at any point? Like I don't know. They're averaging 3.1 yards per carry this season, right? It's just not great. And I've been saying over and over, it's not sustainable. Like we know that. And yes, they've had success passing the football, but it's going to come to a head in this game, right? Like we kind of feel that against this Falcons defense. Primetime game again for them. I think the only advantage that the 49ers will have that, we can say right off the bat, right, is they have the rest advantage. The 49ers do. So, that's one thing. And
they're traveling.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure there's other matchups that we'll point to and be like, yeah, the 49ers have an advantage there. Certainly we're excited to have George Kittle back, possibly Brock Purdy back. We'll see if he practices tomorrow. I'm just worried, like, if Mac has to play another game, how many more hits could this guy take, dude?
Oh, my God.
Like,
and that run out of bounds, it looked like he was just trying to grind himself to a stop. And I was just like, oh, dude, like, please.
Did not look clean at all. And I feel for him. Like, sometimes this offensive line is not doing him any favors. So you mentioned the Falcons defensive line. I was a fan of Jalen Walker coming out. Pierce is obviously great as well. So they're going to have their hands full once again. And I think it's going to be another game where Mac's going to have to throw the football a lot, and he's going to have to get the ball out very quickly, especially if the Falcons are going to be blitzing. I don't know if they'll blitz quite as much as 56%, but
they will.
You think so?
I mean, they blitz close to 50% almost every single game. That wasn't even a game high. Like, that's just it. Ulbrich is just gonna send the house over and over and over, man. And they're fine with it because AJ Terrell has been clamps this season. He's been excellent covering receivers, and they're fine with it. D. Alford is like they're fine with it. They'll take their chances because of the matchups they create with with their blitzing. That's not gonna stop. That is just who they are. That's their identity. I did want to talk about this. So the secondary, I feel a little bit better. I think Renardo Green has turned his season around. I think he looks very good. Again, we're talking positives here, and you can only get through that when you watch the tape, and Deommodore Norris is who he is. Sterling Shepard, makes that insane catch. By the way, Baker was really good. It'd be really cool if you guys could tackle him in the backfield on 3rd and 18. But hey, we'll talk about that a little bit later. Upton Stout, Marcus Siegel. We don't really know what's going on with Malik Mustafa because he didn't play much, but he wasn't targeted, didn't give up anything, so that's good. Same thing with Jair Brown, wasn't targeted. I just want to run down some numbers real quick. And if you watched any of the game yesterday, Drake London had about 143 yards at the half. And the thing is, and this is what makes him so effective, and you're going to know exactly where I'm going with this, is his splits between lining up outside and lining up inside in the slot. Week 1, 42 outside, slot 24. Week 2, 33 wide, 23 slot. Week 3, 44 wide, 13 slot. Week 4, 30 wide, 25 slot. Last night, 50, 18. Who am I talking about, Steph? Oh baby, Upton Stout, you better strap it up because you know that they're gonna come at you with Drake London, and they like to use him in that way. And it's not necessarily a slot guy. I want to make sure that it's deemed the slot, but it's more of a condensed split, and it's a little bit further out. But they are trying to put Upton Stout on an island out here, and it is going to be his biggest test. And if Penix can be kept clean, this is where I fear the 49ers are going to have trouble with this offense, besides the fact that Bijan Robinson is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to mix in Chase Lucas just to see if that's a better matchup. But, like, I mean, it's going to be a tough one regardless for the 49ers. It's just not a good situation. And, yeah, I do expect that Penix is going to have a lot of time to throw, as we've seen most quarterbacks have since Nick Bosa has gone down. So, yeah, the secondary is going to be in a tough spot. And, we were talking about the safeties earlier. It just seems like they're still trying to figure that out. I know, obviously, like, Mustafa wasn't getting the full share of snaps quite yet as they ease him back in. But even just that, like, using Jair Brown a little bit more, Siegel being in there, but also, like, not getting the full amount of snaps either. Like, I think they want to see who their best two are, right? And that'll come with time, but they're still going to be figuring that out in this game, and that's also scary because, again, you're talking about Drake London and Upton Stout, who's probably going to need some help. So we'll see, I guess, how it unfolds. I think the biggest thing I am worried about, though, is the run game, because that's what's going to suffer even more now that Fred Warner isn't out there. I mean, if your guys on the line weren't getting it or getting those tackles, leaving gaps open, Fred Warner was plugging that up. Like, there's no question about it. And now you don't have that. Look, I like what D Winters is doing. I think, Tatum Bethune looks pretty good as well. Like, I think he filled in admirably. Could only imagine he'll get better as the season progresses.
And a full week to prepare.
Yeah. But none of these guys are Fred Warner. So I'm just like, and as last week's game went on, I think something just kind of wore on them. Like, the tackling started to falter as the game went on. Oh, man. As I was watching Bijan yesterday, I can already see the 49ers missed tackles into the future. I was like, because he's such a good player. His cuts are just so sudden. I just know it's going to happen. It's just a really tough ask, I think, for this defense, especially, again, like, you're still adjusting to life without Fred Warner. I just don't expect that they're going to have it all put together defensively in this game, which, again, goes back to the offense and their need to be able to score points, which we're also worried about too. But suddenly, I think people were looking at this game against the Falcons as, easy, winnable. And sure, any game is winnable in the NFL. Things happen. But I think after last night's game, the Falcons' performance against the Bills, it's like, oh no, this is not going to be easy. They're coming off their bye week as well, so they're refreshed, and I guess probably had some time to plan some things out and make some positive changes on their end as well. So they look good. They look really ready to take the next step in their season. And yeah, I think that there's a legitimate chance that this is not a very winnable game for the 49ers.
Look, I'm just going to go through the missed tackle rates, and shout out to SF Data Niners. If you guys are not following him, he just does incredible work, man. D Winters, 13% missed tackle rate. He's got 6 missed tackles on the season. Upton Stout, 10.7. He's got 3 missed tackles. 11.5 for Diamado Lenore. That's 3 missed tackles. Renardo Green, 14.3%. That is 3 missed tackles. Kalia Davis, 22.2%. That's 2 missed tackles. You're not going to win this game by not wrapping up and tackling. And that's why it was good to see, Jair Brown cutting down those angles and doing what he did in the run game as well too. And the other thing is they've got big boys up front. They've got guys that can really move the power. Like, this guy's running through, And again, you're absolutely right. Buffalo's defense is bad, and they're missing a lot of guys, but they are bad. And for a Sean McDermott team, you're supposed to be a defensive team. They are bad. But he's running. You could drive a truck through these holes. Pause. Like you really like you can just go ahead and he's just doing what he wants. So yeah, and not to bring it back to the Fred Warner thing, but I was watching the film, and there's a play early in the first quarter where they throw a design screen to Rachaad White. It's got a lot of people down the field. He absolutely wrecks the play, and he doesn't get credited with the tackle, but he makes Rachaad White stop because he wipes out the offensive lineman, and D Winters comes there and wraps it up and knocks it like that. Like that's when I was just like, all right, I'm sad again. I'm sad again. Like I'm sad again.
You're not getting plays like that from anyone else on this team.
No.
No.
I like how fast Tatum Bethune is. I do. And I do think, run fit's good. But you also have to, when we talk about run fits, we have to talk about the defensive line as well, too. You guys can't be getting blown off the ball and stood up. Like, you have to hold those blocks and allow those smaller linebackers to get in there. That's just not happening. And we're going to see the development from Michael and Collins, and that's good. And CJ West, you want to see all that, right? One name that I think that everybody should kind of look out for is, if Cleveland Farrell is available, bring him in the building. You need every single able-bodied, two-armed defensive lineman in the area. So, that's not a game changer, but you just need bodies. And I think when we talk about run and we're talking about we feel good about the linebackers, starts up front, man. And it is what it is. And, again, what the Falcons do well is what the 49ers are struggling with right now. You're not going to be able to replace Fred Warner 1-for-1. It's going to be a group effort. I will say I love the effort. Everybody was laying out. They were giving it all they could. There was no quit in that team. I think that's something that we need to continue to highlight because that's something that I'm still holding on to because it was very easy. Again, as fans, I just started drinking when Fred got hurt. That was it. By the time I got to the instant reaction, I was hammered because I just didn't want to face it. But those guys, they went out there and they fought, and I think they're still going to fight. Look, I still think the 49ers are going to win this game. Right? And why shouldn't I, right? Like, it depends on who's going to be there. We're going to find out real quick who's going to be there. If Pearsall's there, if Kittle's back, if Brock is back, even if Mac is there. And I didn't think that Mac played terribly. I just think he didn't play as well as he did against the Rams, right? Like, the one interception to Kendrick Bourne, okay, maybe it was negligible. That could have been an interception even if Bourne runs the right route, but we'll never know because he just ran a completely different route. And then that one interception on fourth down, credit the Bulls defense for the cloud corner dropping and sinking on that one. That was just good design, and that's it. He just didn't play. He didn't play as good as he turned the football over. And when you turn the football over and you need to play perfectly at quarterback to win games and keep your guys in it, that's what's gonna happen. So again, I did see some things that I like from Sammy O. Sammy O is somebody who he can get there and he can get close, but I don't know what happens when he's getting ready to finish. He just, like, how did I get here? And then he's out of position, right? Like, there was a play where he blows by Tristan Wirfs, and he, leaves his feet, and Tristan Wirfs just wipes him off the screen. Like, and I'm just like, dude, why are you leaving your feet? Like, stay in phase and stay with him. Michael had a few plays like that. Obviously, the play that we're all going to look at is, that Baker Mayfield sack that should have happened, that twisted the game around right there because that was the 49ers about to get the ball back and who knows what happens. And then 2 plays later, Baker steps up into a pocket and he throws a dime to Tez Johnson, like an absolute dime. That changed the game. They've got to finish. And Penix isn't mobile. He's not Baker Mayfield. That you can say that for sure. But they are going to be surgical if he is kept clean. So what does that mean? Do you blitz a little bit more? I think if you're worried about Marcus Siegel and he's on the field, then use him as the guy that you're bringing up to the line to blitz because you have confidence in the other guys on the back end. So I'm still hopeful. I still believe that the 49ers are going to win more games this season. I still think the 49ers are in the driver's seat for a playoff spot. I mean, look around the NFC. Who exactly are we afraid of right now at this point? I mean, we're afraid because of who we don't have, but the Lions lost to the Chiefs. The Eagles lose to the Giants. The Packers tied with the Cowboys. Like, there's no runaway teams. Washington's in deep trouble right now. They're 3-3, and their schedule does not get easier. You know, the teams that you're worried about are the teams in your own division. Seattle keeps winning, and we'll see how they do this week on Thursday against Houston. The Rams keep winning, but the Rams keep getting gifted banged up team after banged up team. And I'm not knocking them. That's what the schedule is. But how do you go from having the San Francisco 49ers and then the Baltimore Ravens in back-to-back weeks? And now the Jaguars in London aren't going to have Devin Lloyd, who's been playing out of his mind. They're not going to have Puka Nacua either, it sounds like. So it's starting to level out. But man, they're getting lucky. So you look around the NFC and you kind of just say, we have to hold steady. That's it. You can't let this season go around the tubes, and you can't let this season go down the drain, right? Like, you still at this point are in good position. A lot of teams would kill to be 4-2. It's just how the 49ers got to 4-2 that makes it so hard. And by the way, you talked about Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey is on pace for the hardest 100-yard scrimmage games in the history of the NFL back to back to back to back to back. I don't know how he's doing it. It doesn't look easy, but he's doing it. So, it is what it is at this point. The 49ers just have to stick with it. And they have the coaching, they have the culture, they have the guys that are going to continue to compete. They're just going to have to get more from players that they didn't expect to, a la their rookies and their second-year players.
Yeah, you're definitely not in a position to punt your season this early when you're sitting at 4-2. I mean, yeah, it looks grim, and I saw Drew Brees had the 49ers in his top 5 power rankings. I don't know if I'd quite do that.
CTE?
Does he know?
Does he know?
Does he know? I don't know if I'd put him in the top 5, but this is still a team that could compete. I mean, again, like, just the fact that they were able to keep this game as close as they did, till the end there, I think says a lot. They're going to keep fighting. And from our perspective, I think we'll find some entertainment and something to cheer for. That's maybe a little bit different than what it was like a few weeks ago. And I'm not saying that we're as fans ready to punt the season either, but I'm just saying that I think it will be closer to what we thought or expected at the beginning of the season. When we were going into the season, what it was going to be. We were going to be rooting for young players getting a lot of playing time and growing and taking their lumps along the way. So you're looking at this team from a slightly different perspective, but not one where you're feeling down and out about it. I think there's still a lot of good to take away from what the 49ers are going to be able to, put together for the rest of this season. And, let them impress us. I think they will at certain points, and it could start, Sunday Night Football. And I shouldn't even say start, because they had already impressed us quite a bit in the first 6 weeks of the season. So, I'm just going to keep holding out hope that it'll be entertaining enough that we don't have to drink our sorrows away. Jay, hopefully Sunday night's a little better for you.
Man, I know my liquor store is happy. I'm keeping them in business right now. But I do want to say this too. Again, it's still, this season was always about information and fact finding. And the 49ers were going to go wherever the chips laid. If it was in the playoffs, cool. If not, then we've got our development with our rookies and everything. That hasn't changed. And the 49ers should still be in that information finding sector of this, right? You have to figure out what you have, because it is about 2026. You have to be smart about any trades that you make, because you do need all the picks that you have to continue to stock this cupboard. And you might be in the business of getting more picks depending on who it is. Like, if somebody calls for Jawan Jennings right now, who says no at this point, right? I mean, he's banged up. Why would somebody trade for him?
Ribs and and high and low ankle sprain, says no.
Yeah, I mean, Pittsburgh, they might call, but look, again, the 49ers are in this spot after 6 weeks where they shouldn't be punting the season, and they shouldn't be counting their chickens before they hatch. You have to continue to go week to week, and you have to keep fighting, and that's it. And you're going to find out what this team is made of, although I think I know what they're made of, man. These guys are trying their hardest, man. They're playing their asses off, man. I have to give them credit for that. I'm not going to stop saying that. I know that doesn't mean anything if it doesn't translate into wins and losses, but yeah, they legit are trying as hard as they can, and that's culture, right? Like, that's them believing still in the coaching. The coach hasn't lost the locker room. They're still believing. But you have to keep this up, right? And keep the effort up. So Sunday night, the only thing that I have a complaint is I can't stand Sunday Night Football. I hate that song so much. Um, and now I have to wait all day for Sunday night. What are you laughing
Why
about?
do you hate that song?
Song sucks.
Okay, hater.
I don't care. Big hater. Oh, the biggest hater. Steph, is there anything else that you wanted to touch on? Anything? Oh, what I mean, we're talking about positives. The 49ers special teams is creeping into the top 10, and why is that? Rob, do it, please.
Rob. Did it get longer again?
It's the kicker unemployed one.
Kicked his ass off. Thought he kicked his ass off.
Um, no, seriously, the 49ers are a top 10 special teams unit, and that has a lot to do with their specialists. And that, just because Sky Moore is brain dead doesn't mean that everybody else isn't doing what they're supposed to on special teams. And Eddie Dinero Pinheiro is a big reason for that, man. He's nails, man. So yeah.
No, it legit might be the only reason, Jay, because if Sky Moore is
respect Thomas Morstead.
He's no McDonald.
Did you know? Oh, Pat O'Donnell, the GOAT, by the way. Shout out there. Yo, but did you know that Thomas Morstead has reached 20 miles an hour more running than Christian McCaffrey?
Wow.
Stop playing with my punter.
On today's CMC has lost his burst.
Stop playing with my punter.
Crazy. I don't know where you found that stat, but that's a good nugget.
Well, Christian McCaffrey was asked about it because it is a stat, right? The next gen. So the people in the booth in the press box, they have next gen stats that we don't have that update play after play. And Thomas Morstead hit 20 miles an hour running down on a punt. And they asked Christian McCaffrey about it, and they said, hey, you haven't hit 20 on any run yet this season. And he's like, oh, that's not good.
That's crazy.
Jesse says, Kyle is a top 10 special teams unit. Hell is freezing over. It's opposite land, and it's cats and dogs living together, mass hysteria. All of a sudden, the special teams unit is the better of the three phases. You can't make this up, man. You really can't. But look, at the end of the day, there's all you can do is just I think I've talked through it. I'm done with the Fred Warner stuff. I want him to, be healthy and everything. And by the way, if we want to get crazy, 3 months puts him on track for the divisional round. So just keep that in mind, Fred Warner. Just keep that in mind. If we, we'll get there when we get there. But this team just has to continue to fact find and figure things out, right? And figure out what they have. And they have to find a way to generate better pass rush, man. They just do. And I do think that it's there. But the sum of the parts at times is, when you have all these guys that are run stuffers and then you're asking them to be pass rushers now, I think that's another thing that we have to, Jordan Elliott's not going to rush the passer. Kalia Davis is, fine rushing the passer. Michael's got to be an edge setter, right? But Alfred Collins, CJ West, not pass rushers, right? You're asking them, you're asking your plumber to fix your roof. And that's just where they are with who they have, up on the defensive line. But it is up to Robert Saleh to figure that out. And I do think that, they are in better hands because it's obviously better than Nick Sorensen. But, they just have to move forward. That's it. And from what I saw, with my eyes, this team didn't quit. And I think that's important. That's the thing that I'm going to keep hanging my hat on, is that they're still going ahead. They're still going ahead and trying their best at this point. So,
yeah. Suddenly, you have to elevate your game even further. And so I think that's hopefully what we see in these coming weeks. And again, I think we'll learn a lot about this team going forward, and hopefully it'll still be entertaining for us to watch. I think it will be, though.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Sunday night should be a fun game. I mean, Atlanta has guys, it's a good test to figure out where the secondary is. Just, I'm just very interested to see what this game plan is. Obviously the 49ers are a big cover 3, cover 4 team. That's kind of what they were running, and Baker was hitting them underneath in this game. But I do wonder if they start to run a little bit more cover 1, because that's how you can bracket. If you're trying to bracket Drake London, who knows if Darnell Mooney's going to play in this game. You want to make somebody else beat you. Like, you just can't let you can't let Drake London go crazy for 140 yards in the first half. Like, it's just, what are you going to do to change things? So it's going to be interesting. I think Robert Saleh's, he's got it. I know we asked him to work miracles on us, but I don't think we meant all this, when it comes to this. So anyway, that'll do it for this episode of Bully Ball on the Gold Standard Podcast Network. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the Gold Standard Podcast Network, wherever you get your audio podcasts. Make sure you follow Steph on Twitter at Steph49K. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at JasonAponte2103. We both have YouTube channels, so you might want to check those out too. And so make sure you subscribe to that as well. But Steph, it was good to see you again. Your hair looks amazing. And I just want to say, guys, it's okay. And the 49ers are going to keep trying. Please. I know, I'm over it now. It's Tuesday. Let's go. We're going to move forward here. So as always, let's go Niners.
Peace.